Okay, today we're going to be talking about writing equations. We've completed an assignment earlier about writing expressions. So I'm first going to kind of tell you the difference between an expression versus an equation. Now remember, when we wrote some expressions, we had some letters and some numbers. Sometimes we had to add or subtract things, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. But we did not put an equal sign because an expression does not have an equal sign in it. So that's how we know that this isn't an expression. But an equation, we're going to see an equal sign with it. And the easy way to remember that is if we look at the word equation, we have the first part of the word equals. Equal. So that's an easy way to remember. So anytime you come to a test or something that asks you to write an equation, you know that you're going to have to use an equal sign, and there's going to be some operations with it also. So let's take a look at keywords that mean equals. One word obviously is going to be the word equals itself. Also another word is. This is 36. And I also kind of think about it that if I were to make a fist and hit somebody with it, it equals a punch. So kind of think about it that way. And then you also have the word same as, that also means equals. We do have one other word that could mean equals, but it also means an operation. It's kind of it serves two purposes, and that word is total. So anytime we see the word total, we know that we're going to be equaling, but we're also going to have something added with it, so we can automatically do those words. Now, I'm going to have you go ahead and take a few minutes here and review the other keywords for our operations. This just helps us make our equations, and kind of makes it easier when we go to look at our actual our words that what we're looking at to make equations. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and start looking at making these equations. Now before I even start reading, the first thing I'm going to find is the word equals, or my equal word, or what means equals. So in this case, obviously equals. So I'm going to go ahead and put my equal sign on there. Now I see that I have 36 right after that, so I'm going to go ahead and write it as is. So remember, when I am doing these, when I write out my equations, I read what is on the paper and put it down exactly as I see it, so I don't have to think about switching something or changing a sign on something. I'm just going to look at it and write it as I see it. So I have the word times. Now remember, there are several different ways to write times. I can do a dot, I can do a number next to a letter, I can do a number next to a parenthesis. Now we're not going to use the X as the times symbol anymore because we can use the X as a letter to represent whatever number we don't know. And my preferred way of writing 9 times in algebra is this way. So when I write these, I'm going to always do 9x when I see 9 times some number. You're more than welcome to write it the other ways, it'll still be correct, but this is the preferred method. So I'm going to just go ahead and write 9x. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. What word do we see as the key word for equals? You could have chosen is. You could also use the word same as. So we're going to go ahead and write our equal sign down. 51 comes after my equal sign. I see a plus and I see a times. So 16 times some number. We don't know what number that is, so I'm going to do 16x. And then I see my plus 3. Okay, let's look at the next example. We have the word is. This is my keyword. 0 is my number following my equal sign. I see minus 18, and then 9 times some number. Sometimes we will see word problems, and they'll ask us to write equations. So let's take a look at it, and we're also going to look at that keyword total and see how that kind of helps us write this equation. So we have Jeremy has a total of 17 marbles. So we already know that total is our equals, but we also know that we're adding two things. We know that it equals 71. So in one of my spots, it tells me that I'm using that I have 7 marbles. Now I'm just going to write 7 by itself because I don't see any keywords that tells me that I'm multiplying anything or doing any other operations. So I'm just going to put 7 by itself. Now the next part, it says he bought 8 sets of being my keyword here, which tells me to multiply. So I'm going to do 8 times some number, and I have my equation set. So again, I am just simply looking at what's there, taking what I know about my words and putting them down. Right now, you're going to go ahead and do some practice on your own.